They on the run, GG. They on the run. The Dada, they doing their dash right now. The Dada, that's what it is. So GG's the Dadas, hyenas, Scuba Dadas who learn from Scuba Steepers, criminal y'all. I rock with the King X. Don't forget the Kennedy doing his millimeter march right here on YouTube because that's that for the most highest. The Dada likes what you make it. You can't love, you can't hate it. It's gonna be simply what you make it. The Dada. Stay more aware than never. The Dada. You know what I'm saying? But they on the Rizzy. The Dada. They on the run. The Dada. They doing their thing. The Dada. So I want to know who's going to ride. Let's give a little bit of music to the inmates that who broke out. To the inmates who broke out, the Dada. Levels, Buddha.
Shit so fucked up, your own family might turn on you. Grandma say you been through some things, I hope they learn from you. Don't need no one to hold me down, cause I got myself. Who gon' be there to the end? I wonder who gon' ride for me, cause I've been riding by myself. I wonder who gon' slide for me. Lately I've been sliding by myself. Hey, see I'ma slide by myself till the wheels fall off. Niggas will ask you for a ride until the wheels fall off. But it's cool though, I know niggas ain't real. Got your back when you got money, after that these niggas chill. I called my partner phone the other day like niggas got me hemmed up. They call my phone to ask for money, when I call I ain't picking up. But it's cool cause I don't need no one to ride for me. Cause if I get caught by myself, bitch I can't lie on me. Shit so fucked up, your own family might turn on.
If the nigga who got caught at the bench, the Dada, the nigga who got caught at the bench, the Dada, you get caught by yourself, the Dada, you can't tell yourself, the Dada, you heard? That nigga was all alone over there, the Dada. I wanna know who gonna ride for me. Cause I've been riding by my...
You been through some things, I hope they learn from you. Don't need no one to hold me down, cause I got myself. Who gon' be there to the end? I wonder who gon' ride for me. Cause I've been riding by myself. I wonder who gon' slide for me. Lately I've been sliding by myself. Lately I've been sliding by myself.
Yo, shout out to the inmates, the Dada, your team doing the race, the Dada. Y'all niggas wanna disappear, y'all niggas wanna be gone. 5 is out, 5 got locked up, 5 is captured, 5 still doing the race, the Dada. Would they make it, would they not, the Dada? But let's start from the fucking beginning. That's what we gonna do. We gotta start all the way from the beginning till we get a perspective on this whole situation, GG. You know what I'm saying? Lately, I've been riding by myself. That's crazy, bro. And 7 of them got arrested. So 10 people got locked up. If the other 5 got locked up, 17 people gonna be locked up now. 10 got out, 17 is in now. You know what I'm saying? This is crazy, bro. They did a 2 for a double, the Dada, 10 for 10 deal, the Dada. You know what I'm saying? Who knows?
You to work together to solve it, to get these folks back in custody. And we are doing that. All of our energy at OPSO is going towards getting these folks back into custody and finding out exactly what happened. It's a fluid situation. When we're aiming to respond to all media inquiries as quickly as we can possibly do that, but I still have to investigate it, and the integrity of the investigation has to stand. We do acknowledge there is no way people can get out of this facility without there being some type of lapse in security. There's no way. It's almost impossible, not completely, but almost impossible.
They say that they got out by some fucking inside help, a lot of inside help. They might as well just have walked out the door, 7 people helping them. The fuck?
For anybody to get out of this facility without help from the outside. We intend to find out exactly what happened. We know that
Order anything to manage everything. With Grainger's endless product options, you can work smarter, not harder. So click Grainger.com or just stop by.
Want to say that we know that folks are normally locked down in this facility at 10:30 p.m., but these folks that were able to get out did so because of defective locks on the cells. I've talked about those locks since I got into office. I wrote a letter to the consent decree judge, to the city council, and everybody else who would listen. And every time I go to budget, I say the exact same thing. When you all covered our millage, I said the exact same thing. There are deficiencies in these facilities that cause public safety concerns. That's why the millage was so important. We'll get into that a little bit more as we move forward. I need to confirm that Kendall Miles is in.
I feel like that place is so fucked up, that they trying to get some type of public funding, So yeah, I understand that they escaped but they escaped from a high security place, that actually like made me all fucked up, because you know Hurricane Katrina was done wiped out probably all the jails, They probably don't got no new jails that's there, So all the jails was left, and that shit, you know what I'm saying, evacuated or whatnot, So it's a whole situation.
Custody. He is being rebooked for simple escape as well. OPSO deputies found him hiding beneath the car and at the Hotel Monteleone parking garage, and he was transported to OJC by the Louisiana State Police. We also need to acknowledge that Keith Lewis, who was previously reported as an escaped detainee, was in a different cell. So he had been moved, but it had not been updated. So he is not on the run. There were 10, not 11, and he is in our facility and did not try to escape. The remaining individuals are being actively pursued, and our deputies, in collaboration with local and state law enforcement, are working tirelessly to locate and return them to custody. Now we're going to try and go through a little bit of the timeline of events, because what's being reported out there isn't accurate. What we noticed is that the detainees began yanking on a cell to pull it off track. These are the cells that we keep telling that we need to replace at great cost in this facility. They were able to break, that was around 12:23 a.m. They were able to break open a door. There was a corrections monitoring technician in the pod module to be watching that. They were still able to exit the jail about 1:01 a.m. after breaching a wall behind a toilet in the jail. And based on video surveillance, they were seen exiting a door on the docks where we normally bring in supplies, scaling a wall, and running across the interstate shortly thereafter. We have indication that these detainees received assistance in their escape from individuals inside of our department, and the escape was discovered during a routine head count at 8:30 a.m. this morning. The deputy who was on duty promptly notified jail leadership, and around probably before 9:30, we notified the United States Marshals Task Force, which includes all of our partners in the area, and that was before 9:30, about the incident. I found out myself about 9 o'clock and was on my way to the jail and moving through it. About that time, the exact time I can't give you, but it was before 9:30. I asked our personnel, have we notified NOPD? Have we notified our partners? I was told yes, the task force was notified. And then we were also able.
That's crazy, Gigi. They got fucking 7 accomplishments. Like, what the fuck? 7 accomplishments? Accomplices? 7 accomplices is wild nuts. 7 people.
To discern that the NOPD was also notified through the Fusion Center. Now, when this went down, our first concern is to find out who these folks are, confirm, and then we've got to lock down the whole jail and find out, make sure nobody else is missing. That's the first thing we have to do. We also have people being moved out to court. We've got to confirm who those are. So this is a fluid situation as we're trying to get a handle on 1,400 people in this facility. So it was a fluid situation. We're still gathering information. We are investigating our own to find out exactly what happened and where those lapses were. But there were supervisors on duty. There were lower level folks on duty, and they all had a job to do. And we're going to find out exactly what happened. I'm going to now turn this over to Chief Jay Mallett, our Chief of Corrections, to talk a little bit more about the cell itself.
Good evening. We do know that there are several security breaches We're investigating, but the primary security breach and concern is the facility's infrastructure. We've identified that we have a large number of high security individuals in a minimum custody facility. This particular breach of security occurred on the first floor of one of our security parts where we had slider doors. These doors are able to be manipulated by forced off the track that they're on, which allows individuals to enter and exit at will. We do know that some toiletries in a handicap cell was used to be removed.
Which is delicious.
Shit got real. Shit done got real. They motherfucking, I don't know how the fuck they escaped from that little spot though, daughter, but they did. They did. Everybody saying yo, they couldn't left. They walked out the front door. They ain't fucking walk out the front door. They went through. I don't know how the fuck they got through it, but they got through it. They actually got through it.
A little asshole. Some of the infrastructure, some of the fixtures were removed. We know that this could not be removed from the inside, so we are investigating that to see exactly who entered these areas, what kind of work was done, if there was work being done, and if this is an inside job. We remain fully committed to locating the escapees. We're working with local and federal and state partners. We continue to ask the public for their vigilance. And if anyone has any information about the whereabouts of these individuals, please reach out. Thank you.
Jay Dule, what's good? Jay Dule, goody Gigi Dada.
All right, this incident has once again highlighted the critical need for repairs and upgrades to our facilities, particularly to ensure that doors and locks are fully functional. We currently have 24 pods, and our staff is stretched thin. We are only at about 60% staffing. We still need 150 deputies in this jail and another 50 for the new jail about to open. So we're actively, and I have been actively advocating since I got into office for more money to fix these broken parts of the jail that make it unsecure. And just this week, we went to a capital budget hearing.
That's crazy. I wonder if they own that jail. Like, does she just work there or does she own the jail? Like, what the fuck, like, you gotta go and get funding to fix the fucking jail. Like, they couldn't just fix the jail. They make fucking 30 to 40,000, 20 to 40,000 dollars off every inmate yearly. So what the fuck do they need any type of funding? What the fuck do they do with the money that they locking niggas up for? People's wasting time for what? What is they wasting their life for? Locked up, GG. What are you doing with the money that you get off them? Like, what happens?
To lobby for more improvements to address just these issues, which would help improve security and safety for both the detainees and our deputies.
All right, we're going to take questions.
Sheriff, how many people did you have on staff on this overnight shift that would have not reported this between 1 a.m. and 8:30 a.m.? And wouldn't they have to have known about it if there were plumbing items removed and they were able to get out and there was no notice until 8:30?
So I'm going to turn that over to Chief Mallard.
Good question. We actually had 4 supervisors and 36 staff here. That's a pretty, low ratio, but that's what we had. On that particular part, we had a monitoring individual that was actually on site. Where we believe that the exit occurred was behind the cell wall. The staff that was available at that particular time of day, without going into too many security restrictions, wouldn't know that was going on behind the scene. That's more so a physical plant infrastructure deal that we do more routine daily type inspections of to make sure that these things are right.
Wouldn't they need power tools or something?
And that's something that we're investigating, because you're absolutely right. It was more than just a breach of security. It was some type of help. And we've been, researching, we've been looking, investigating and looking, and it would definitely be some type of tool used other than just the strength of a sure individual.
Shay, you mentioned a technician earlier. Why did that person alert staffers earlier? I know you said somebody was also in the pod at the time and that they were still able to get out. You you could kind of run through.
We're still running through the timeline to narrow that down. That is part of the job, the duty and responsibility. That's in everyone's post order. So we're still trying to narrow that down. And as we get information, we'll be sharing.
And also, have the family members of these escapees been notified? Do they know? If you could kind of talk a little bit about what they're saying.
Yeah, some of them have reached out to us to try and help. So we're very grateful for that. We obviously don't want to identify what's going on there, but we're definitely getting some help on trying to locate them.
Sheriff, you said that
they hit the dash,
criticizing the escape here at the jail, but
salute.
Superintendent Ann Kirkpatrick early this morning. She also made it very clear that her department, we talked to the U.S. Marshals, we talked to Louisiana State Police. None of them say they were notified before 10:30 a.m. And then once again, y'all said that y'all discovered this at 8:30. Why wasn't the public and partners, local, state, federal, made aware of this sooner?
So I verified. So we have people on the U.S.
Honestly, they know that when they fucking found out that the inmates escaped, they was like, they did what the Prison Break did. You never seen Prison Break? They gather all the local troops, they was like, yo, go find them people before we have to make this shit public. See if you can find any of the motherfuckers, and then they couldn't find them, and the amount of span that they could, so they're like, yo, we couldn't find nobody, so we gonna have to make this shit public, None of the CEOs, none of the guards, none of them people could have found anybody, So they made it public, so they could get help to finding them, That was the key aspect in finding people. A lot of the people who got found, they got found because the communities helped them, The community helped them to get found, If it wasn't for that, that's what it is, GG. They wasn't about to tell motherfuckers that inmates escape. They're trying to fix the situation before it disperses, before it gets way too out of here.
Marshals Task Force. That's who we notified to make sure the whole task force is ready to roll. And they've been ready to roll since then. So I'm not sure how those up at the top found out, but I know that we notified the task force earlier because our members sit on it. And they came also up here to check on it. So we know that happened. What was your first part of your question? Chief Kirkpatrick has been nothing but a help to us. And we're very appreciative of both the state police and the New Orleans Police Department.
But once again, you all said that you all made the discovery around 8:30 this morning. The escape happened early hours overnight.
Yeah.
There's a reason.
I don't give a fuck, If you got fucking 7 to 8 hours to leave, your ass is still in the same state. You fucking stupid, I don't care, Your job was to leave the state, not just wander around, be all happy, They had a couple stranglers. I understand what they did, The people who actually set up the prison break, they broke more people on, so the other people, could cause diversions because they didn't have nowhere to go. They wasn't going to go nowhere, They just wanted to be free, for a couple minutes, to add fucking 5 years for a couple minutes, 10 years. Yo, 10 minutes or 24 hours, they added fucking a whole nother 5 years to their sentence or whatever the case may be, or another fucking 10 years to their sentence just to escape them. So they had the stranglers to manipulate the cops. The cops were like, oh yeah, we bagged them here, that's where we at. But them niggas is long gone. They already switched clothes. And they didn't just switch clothes from, they have brand new Jordans on. Them niggas was back hit, Shit, one of them got caught with a whole new outfit. How the fuck you get caught with a whole new outfit, But at the end of the day, GG, why the fuck did they didn't leave? The smartest dude that was there, actually brung food with him. Noodles. He brung his commissary with him just in case so he could be out, have something to eat and have energy. That was the smartest one. Everybody else don't understand that they need water after a while. They're going to need something to eat. They're going to need something to drink, GG. Where the fuck they going to get that shit from, GG? You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people helped them. Everyone could lose their job. Done. The whole prison need to get shut down. That prison's fucked up, bro. The whole prison's fucked up, nigga. The whole prison is shitty right now. So that prison, is on a mean. They need some fucking. They need to build a whole new prison, or something like that. Put these people somewhere else, Send these niggas to the El Salvador jail for now, You got 14 inmates, I need someone to go tell us to El Salvador for now and bring them back, when the jail is finished. That's the case, bro.
And public was not notified until 10:30 when y'all's press release came out.
So I found out about 9. So the first thing we have to find out is what happened. So you got to go inside the facility to be able to see. They could have been anywhere. We have to make sure that's exactly what happened. We have to pull all the video and find out what happened. That takes a little bit of time. Then we had to first prioritize talking to victims to make sure they were safe and making sure law enforcement could.
That's crazy, Dada. They fucking went in and started looking for the inmates inside the building first. First, we got to see if the inmates was like, we got to look inside the building. So they scattered the whole jail, Dada. They looking inside the jail while these niggas got 7 to 8 hours to be. Hit the race, Dada. Like, what the fuck, nigga? By 7 hours, Dada. What they in New Orleans, Dada? They should have been halfway up the East Coast, Dada. You know what I'm saying? Heading towards Canada, Dada. What the fuck are you doing, Dada? Get right. Y'all niggas need to be all the way towards Canada, Dada, already hitting the fucking border, Dada, going out there, GGs. So GGs, Dada, make sure that when you escape it, Dada, you have a plan. Hopefully you have a plan, Dada. That's a fact, GG. That's a straight Fendi. Have a plan, Dada. Like, why would you go outside? Why would you escape from a prison, Dada, and just be wandering around the city that you just escaped from? That would even make no fucking sense. Just Blaney just wandering, Dada, like, you don't know what to do. That's why I feel like maybe some of them people wasn't all in the right state of mind, Dada. They didn't really know what to do, Dada. Like, they probably just drunk, Dada. They didn't have nothing to do with that escape. They don't know how to escape.
Respond to them if they needed something.
I know the superintendent.
You said that they yanked on the cell and they were able to get out and they ran across the interstate, but how were they able to get off your jail property? And also, have you lost trust in your deputies because you believe this was an inside job?
Some of them. We have really hardworking deputies, but we're not going to tar and feather everybody with the same brush. We're going to find out exactly what happened, who's responsible, hold them accountable both administratively and criminally.
And how did they get off the jail property? That was my first.
Get off the jail property. They went out a loading bay door where we bring in supplies, and then they got over a wall. I'm not sure if they used blanket. Yeah, the chief Mal can tell you more about how they actually got it.
What we saw was they left, went through an exit door that's in between the actual cell block and the pipe chases. And this is a large facility, so the pipe chase, the exit door, for some reason or another, was designed to lead directly outside. The individuals left out the door, went down the stairs, went to the perimeter wall, and scaled the wall. We did some looking today and realized that it's some razor wire that we need to put up, some issues, but they scaled the wall, jumped down, and then you have a clear path to the railroad track and or the interstate.
Sheriff Hudson, will you be releasing the surveillance video that shows the escape?
I think we'll right now we're part of the investigation going on, but I think eventually, yeah, we'll be able to release that. We just have to make sure nothing doesn't give out any security risks for us. For the rest of the folks here still in custody.
Sheriff, do you believe that you need to revise your policies?
Go ahead. Thank you. CBS News, I'm Katie Morris. Pleasure. I wanted to ask you a little bit. I can't help but notice all the construction that's going on in your backyard.
Yeah.
Does that have anything to do with this? We just saw a recess for bringing in a bunch of concrete. What's going on?
I don't believe it does. That's the new mental health jail, and there's a deputy on duty right there for the gates being open to bring in trucks or whatever needs to come in.
And you said you've been asking for money for a long time. How much money do you need?
The locks alone, I believe, are just the locks. I mean, 5.2 million.
9 people are still on the loose, just to clarify.
Well, here's the headline you just heard right there from Orleans Parish Sheriff Susan Hudson. They believe it was an inside job that these inmates.
10 people escaped, Dada. 17 people going in, Dada. If they find the 5, I ain't gonna say they're gonna find. They automatically gonna find the 5, Dada, like that, Dada. But how the fuck that happened, Dada? Like. That's different right there. That's different. So 5 people. Let's get to the arrest, mate. Let's see who's arrested for this situation. 7 people.
Is now accused of playing a role in the escape of 10 inmates from New Orleans. 1 week into the escape, 5 inmates remain on the run tonight, and a tactical unit arrested a man, Emmett Weber, in New Orleans East for allegedly helping some of those inmates. WDSU reporter Jasmine Franklin is live with more now, breaking down the new details, Jasmine, about others who are accused of aiding and abetting.
Right, Sela. Police have been responding to tips all week long while searching for the
breaking news, breaking news.
Now, those tips did help them find the first 5 inmates, but they're also
breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. They done arrested an 8th person, so now they got 7 people. They done arrested 8 people. It's gonna go up to 10. They're gonna get a 10 for 10 deal. A 10-piece McNugget deal. They got a 5-piece McNugget. They're looking for the other 5-piece McNugget. But they got an 8-piece McNugget too. But let's see the 7 people first.
right now searching for people they believe assisted those escaped inmates.
I think, this has been a very long week. We do appreciate all of the tips that we've gotten.
1 week after 10 inmates ran out of the Orleans Justice Center, 5 have been captured and 5 others remain on the run. And while the search for the remaining inmates intensifies, law enforcement is cracking down on anyone accused of helping. These 7 people have been arrested in connection to the escaped inmates.
We are absolutely seeing tips that are naming individuals that may have helped. And obviously it's breaking the law at this instance.
In court Friday, bond was set at $1 million for Casey Smith, accused of helping at least 3 inmates. We also learned about a new family connection between the alleged accomplices. Court records show Casey Smith is the cousin of Courtney Harris, who is also accused of assisting inmates. Lawyers claim Harris and Smith were in a car together and got a call from one of the inmates. Harris is accused of driving 3 inmates around after their escape. Smith's lawyer says she has no connection.
That's crazy, Dada. She might as well drove him out of town. Why the fuck you driving him around? Like, what the fuck was this, Dada? A circus, Dada? Oh, you gonna go outside, Dada, for a walk in the park, a field trip? Like, what the fuck was they doing, Dada? Like, oh yeah, come on, jump in. We gonna do a tour guide around the city. Like, what the fuck you doing? You tour guiding around the motherfucking city, Dada? Like, what are y'all doing? Y'all supposed to be going to Mexico. Y'all supposed to be going to Canada. Like, what are y'all doing?
To the inmates.
It's a difficult situation you're putting yourself in. And when you look at now these individuals who have been arrested and will serve time, most likely, that's a serious message that people out there who are in the situation now need to take heed.
So that's 7 of them, Dada, right? That's 7 right there, Dada. But no, there's 8. Ain't just 7 now. Now we got an 8th person, Dada. Another woman. A lot of women, Dada. A lot of women. That's crazy. Now we got 8 persons.
News at 6 begins with breaking news.
Right now, 5 men are still on the run, exactly 1 week after a historic escape at the Orleans Parish Jail. And tonight, more people are accused of helping. That includes another inmate, Trevin Williams, who also was jailed at the time of the escape, and Casey Smith, whose bond was set this afternoon. Alyssa Curtis was there.
There's been some inconsistencies with how many men Casey Smith may have helped, but today in court, the Attorney General's office says she helped drive around 3 inmates nearly a week after they broke out of jail. But her lawyer says she was simply in the car with her cousin and didn't know who the men were.
So that's the 8th person right there? What the fuck? That's crazy.
According to the Attorney General's office, Smith had, quote, disregard for the law and put, quote, numerous citizens at risk by aiding and abetting the escape of some of the most dangerous men. They say she confessed to driving them around the city and actively participated. But Smith's lawyer says the main bad actor was Smith's cousin, Courtney Harris. Harris was arrested Wednesday. Smith's lawyer says Smith was in the car when her cousin got a call and picked up 3 men. She says Smith did not know who they were and didn't need to ask them to identify themselves. It's unclear who they helped, but court records show Harris helped Leo Tate and Jermaine Donald, who are still on the run. The AG's office asked that Smith be held on no bond.
She would never fuck with her cousin ever again, Dada. You heard? She ain't never gonna fuck with her cousin. Cause if you in the car with your cousin go pick up three shorties, right? Or if you a girl, Dada, your cousin go pick up 3 niggas, you're not gonna ask the fucking niggas who the fuck they are, Dada. You just gonna keep looking forward to Dada, you know what I'm saying, or something. But she must have heard something or something, but that's fucked up, Gigi. She got put in a whole situation, Dada. And then how the hell they know that she was with them? And her cousin. That's different.
The judge set it for $1 million. Today in court, we also learned about another attempted escape that happened earlier this month. 2 men appeared in court today for an attempted escape the judge says happened May 1st. According to the judge, cameras caught 2 men helping a third get through the ceiling, but he didn't get far as he fell not too long after. We reached out to OPSO for more information, but have not yet heard back. Reporting at Criminal District Court, Alyssa Curtis, WWL, Louisiana.
And just moments ago, we learned about another arrest of an accomplice. We'll have more of that tonight at 10. Meanwhile, more than 100 law enforcement officers are searching for the 5 inmates that are still on the run and now a week out from the jailbreak. Eleanor Tabone did some digging and she shares more on what we learned about these men.
Oh, I remember him from a baby.
Like any other child, Derek Groves was an innocent, wide-eyed kid with the world ahead of him.
He was friends with my son. He taught my son how to ride a bike.
But somewhere along the way, that innocence turned to blood. He's accused in 4 killings and convicted on 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of manslaughter. Gail Slack says she helped raise the 27-year-old on Alabo Street in the lower 9th Ward.
I just hope that if they catch him, they don't hurt him.
Groves and 4 others are still on the run after breaking out of the Orleans Parish Jail. Orleans Parish District Attorney Jason Williams is scared. He says not of what Groves did.
He dipped, the data. He's gone, the data. He's gone, the data. At least them 5, the data. They somewhere else, the data. Like, if they left the city, they got a bigger chance of. If they left wherever the fuck they had the data, and they on their own the data leave, they should be a little bit straight, the data. They should be going towards Canada.
But of what he might do next.
2 of the lawyers who I tried that case with, who successfully went forward, able to get a conviction on that case. These lawyers got out of town this weekend with their families out of fear of retribution.
Antoine Massey doesn't belong on an ankle monitor. Antoine Massey doesn't belong on the first floor of an unsupervised pod.
According to documents WWL Louisiana got, investigators say 33-year-old Sterling Williams, a jail maintenance worker, is facing charges after he confessed to helping the inmates escape. The documents say he acted under the orders from escaped inmate Antoine Massey, who allegedly threatened to shank him if he refused, though Williams' attorney denies that account. Matt Dennis with Assured Supervision Accountability Program, or ASAP, an electronic monitoring company, says Massey has been escaping for years, dating back to 2007.
In November of 2023, Antoine Massey was ordered into our ankle monitor program, and he was placed on ankle monitor. And 2 very short hours later, he cut his ankle monitor off.
Also, among the escapees still on the run is 26-year-old Lenton Van Buren. He's accused of second-degree murder. Then there's 31-year-old Leo Tate, wanted on multiple gun and drug charges as well as burglary. The oldest of the group, 42-year-old Jermaine Donald, is awaiting trial for a second-degree murder charge. I asked LSP if the search for the inmates is limited to Louisiana or it's nationwide. They could not confirm whether the search has moved beyond the state, but they did say they're working with all local, state and federal partners and using all available resources to track down the fugitives. Eleanor Tabone, WWL, Louisiana.
We have even more details about this historic escape and everything that's happened in the days since in our New Orleans jailbreak special that's streaming now on our WWL Plus television.
You've asked me that 3 times already.
I did? This is exactly how it started with Mom.
Worried about your brain health? Serafulin Brain Wellness has a dual action formula.
Shit getting too real, the data. So 8 people's knocked off. That's fucking different. That's different right there, Nandada. 10 people escape, 8 people. They got more people who escaped knocked off right now, Nandada, without even catching the 5 people, Nandada. But where are the other 5 people? Where are the other 5 people?
Since 10 violent prisoners have escaped from a jail down in New Orleans. 6 still remain at large, 4 of which have ended. Actually scratched that. Needed to jump in here and add something additional that took place after filming what I'm sharing with you right now. Folks, just yesterday, not only would it be Sterling Williams who was arrested, the jail worker, but a 5th fugitive would be captured and who was the youngest of the group, 19-year-old Corey Boyd, originally incarcerated for a second-degree murder charge, was located in a residence less than 2 miles away from the facility in the 1400 block of Iberville Street. And with this fifth apprehension, it's really illustrating this theory that we had initially that all of the youngest of this group of 10 would be the...
Why the fuck did them niggas go in residence and stay inside? If you went to a residence, you'd be like, yo, give me a ride. Everybody's wearing them little ski mask things, what's them shit's called? You know what I'm saying? Them little ski masks, whatever, caps, whatever the case may be, You could have put on the coronavirus. You could have put on a little ski mask. You could have been going, just looking around. You could have been gone, What the fuck? Y'all different. Nobody just blended it into, like, you could blend into society,
First to be captured, leaving the 5 remaining fugitives the oldest of the bunch. I'll be sharing more with you about Corey Boyd and the remaining 5 fugitives as things continue to develop. It was just yesterday that we learned a jail maintenance worker, 33-year-old Sterling Williams, was arrested and charged for helping to orchestrate and carry out this escape. And had it not been for him, this escape may have never even happened. Not only has Sterling Williams been arrested, he's also been charged with 10 counts of principal to simple escape and 1 count of malfeasance in office. New Orleans fugitives, armed and dangerous, jail employee linked to escape arrested. One of the inmates threatened to stab the employee with a shank, a homemade knife, according to the employee's statement in an arrest warrant affidavit. I'm just going to go ahead and say what I imagine everybody is probably thinking at this point. Of course, he would say that. I can't understand why this guy would help these 10 violent prisoners escape in the first place. Did he know them from the neighborhood? Did he feel some sort of compassion for them? Was he paid to do so?
They say that the Antonio Massey dude, is the person who all he's the one that set this up because he escaped from different jails already. He been escaping from jails and shit like that, so he's the one that set this up. That's what they saying, GG.
No, because to be honest with you, I'm not buying the fact that he did this because they threatened him. It's been reported that authorities believe this was not help that he provided to these guys that was just done so in one day. This was potentially days long, if not weeks long, help that he provided to these would-be 10 escapees. There was an entire piece of rebar that had to be cut out. And there's a lot of speculation as to whether that was done from behind where the cell was or from the cell side once the toilet and sink was removed from the wall. Was it this jail maintenance worker, Sterling Williams, who cut that piece of rebar? Or was it the prisoners with some sort of makeshift tool? Regardless, the only person who would have been able to cut off the wall.
See, they cut off the bar and all the inmates went through that hole. So yes, all the inmates fed through that hole. They went through that hole. And they got like, come on, bro. Like that's what happened, GG. That's crazy. They all went through the fucking hole and escaped them. That's nuts.
So as to not flood the entire cell block and cell when that toilet and sink was removed from the wall would have been the jail maintenance worker. The prisoners would not have access to be able to cut off the water themselves. I'm just having a real hard time, though, understanding why this guy would provide help, knowing that all of this would lead right back to him. How naive do you have to be?
Why the fuck didn't you do your homework and find out who the fuck this guy is? Why the fucking thing? Get some inside documents, Shichi.
Be to think nobody's going to come looking at you for this. There had to be some sort of incentive because the threat of violence, it really ain't doing it for me. And if you were that scared, buddy, you shouldn't have been in that position in the first place. But now you don't have to worry about it. And now you're probably even more scared because now you're locked up in the same exact jail where you helped 10 prisoners escape from. There's got to be some major irony in all of that. And also, not to mention, I bet you this guy's not being housed on the first floor. I think that they probably have learned their lesson at this point. Like, you know what? Maybe we should keep certain prisoners on the upper floors.
Every production line is powered by pros,
The part we play, equipping.
How would you know that, Dada? Now the niggas that would escape, you gonna keep them on the upper floors. What
The
about
maintenance worker
was gonna escape the Dada? But it's not gonna happen again, obviously, because all the pieces to the puzzle done got in the Dada. But that shit's crazy, Dada. These people wasted an escape, Dada. For what? These people wasted an escape, Dada, like to get caught. Same day, the next day, situations like that. Dada, like, why the fuck you wish that escape, Dada? Like, but there's still 5 on the run, Dada. So maybe they could make it to the border.
Arrested in connection to the New Orleans jail escape didn't just help 10 inmates break out. He unleashed armed and dangerous fugitives on the community and beyond by extensively colluding with them. Louisiana Attorney General Liz Murrill acknowledged in a Fox News interview that people are on edge after the daring May 16 breakout. The jail employee Sterling Williams, 33, has been charged with multiple counts of being a principal to simple escape and malfeasance in office. Maybe potentially a little bit of an oxymoron right there, being charged with principal to simple escape, because to be honest, this escape didn't seem all that simple to me. Williams admitted to investigators he complied with a demand from one of the inmates to shut off the water to the cell, allowing the escapees to rip out a toilet and sink unit and climb through a hole in the wall that created. The sheriff's office has said the inmates appeared to have used a tool to cut through the steel bars behind the sink and toilet fixture. So it looks like it was the prisoners who cut that piece of rebar. Worker may have helped over multiple days. Instead of reporting the inmate's request, Williams complied with it, allowing the inmates to carry out their scheme to successfully escape. In an arrest affidavit, Williams said one of the inmates threatened to stab him with a shank if he did not follow instructions. Authorities said Williams, whose bond was set at $1.1 million, was still at fault for lending his assistance, which, according to Murrill, extended beyond the early morning when the inmates fled. What do they mean by that? We have an hour lapse between the footage that we have of the prisoner jimmying the door, trying to wrestle free that defective lock, and when we see those 10 escapees jumping off of that back loading dock. What was going on inside of this facility during that 60-minute gap? Was Sterling Williams hiding these 10 would-be escapees, letting them know when the coast is clear? Did he help them every step of the way until they reached that loading dock? And if he didn't, folks, there are still other jail staff members who have been placed on unpaid leave who potentially could be charged in this situation as well. Murrill pointed out that without his cooperation, the escape would have been detected. Obviously, when they cut through the pipes, they would have flooded the cell, and that would have alerted people to a problem. We think it was more than just that night, Murrill said. We believe this.
But they probably would never said nothing. If the Joes understaffed the Dada and they could just cut steel and do all that shit, the Dada, you could tell that it's not professional. It's not a professional setting, the Dada. So since it's not a professional setting, the Dada, and work is just fucking not really work. People just go there to chill like that. They ain't really fucking thing, and everything is already coerced because people been in jail for so long, the Dada, and the way that jail works, that everybody just there, the Dada, just doing their thing, the Dada. It makes it feel like people ain't, the jails ain't really doing their job, the Dada, like with helping people and things. They just be leaving motherfuckers there, the Dada, just locked up, the Dada. Forget, the Dada. They're not worried about it. Crazy, the Dada. And it's just supposed to be rehabilitation. This supposed to be rehab, the Dada, to rehabilitation, the Dada. Like, you know what I'm saying.
Multiple days of involvement. None of that particularly matters at this point because what's done is done. Now it is all about getting these remaining 6 fugitives apprehended and put back behind bars where they've got time to serve, and a lengthy amount of it as well. Plus, tack on that additional charge of escape that's going to add quite a bit more time to whatever time they're already facing. And some of these guys undoubtedly are facing life sentences. So what do they really have to lose in this? I just hope that by the time all of this is said and done, that all 10 of these individuals are.
Yeah, they said that these dudes that wasn't facing life sentences. So most of these guys facing life sentences, they would have hit the motherfucking border. They would have hit the border and escape the data and just enjoy life on the beach, chilling the data or whatever life is the data and just doing their thing. The data, real shit.
Apprehended peacefully without any additional violence, because anything else that comes from this is only going to be just that much more intensified to how terrible and how negatively viewed the judicial system and the sheriff's office is already being viewed down in New Orleans. But with mention of all of this, folks, that brings to mind another interesting thing to consider here. What are the chances that these guys remain free? New Orleans jail escape. What are the odds that all fugitives will be caught? Well, the whereabouts of the 6 inmates who ran from the New Orleans jail by climbing through a hole behind a toilet remains unknown. Experts say there's a strong likelihood the escapees will get caught eventually. As law enforcement officials hunt for the escapees, the odds of their recapture are very high. Bryce Peterson, an adjunct professor at John Jay College of...
They are, but the more days that pass by, the higher they're going to get slimmer, because people ain't just looking for them now. They're getting back to regular reality, fighting crime, doing whatever they got to be doing, if they even fighting crime, but they probably just using all the utensils to just find them people.
Criminal justice, who has conducted extensive research on inmate escapes, told USA Today. Well over 90% of inmates who escape will be recaptured, Peterson said. So you're telling me there's a chance, a 10% chance, according to this information, that one or some or all of these remaining fugitives could potentially remain free? I highly doubt that. You've got every agency under the sun looking for these guys. And not just that, civilians, I imagine, as well. Freelancers, bounty hunters. Dog the bounty hunter has even been brought in as an expert analyst in this case. FanDuel, I believe it was FanDuel.
I'm thinking of buying a house.
A house? Are you sure?
Making bets on who is going to be the last man standing. That's got to be a...
That's real, the data. They take your bets, the data. Who's the last man standing? Who's going to be the last man standing, the data? Oh, that's different. They making bets on this shit, GG.
Mean, right? Like FanDuel wouldn't bet. I mean, shit, I've seen betting websites for elections, so I wouldn't be surprised if you could bet on this. But if you were to ask me, my expertise being in criminal justice as well, unfortunately, the kind from the other side of the fence where the grass isn't always greener. If you were to ask me what I think the odds are of these remaining 6 remaining free, oh, I'd say it's way less than a 10% chance. I'd say it's probably a 99.9% chance. All of these guys are going to get caught. You have garnered...
Eventually, but not right now, the data. So if they was going to get caught, they ain't getting caught.
National attention. You have made a mockery of not just the New Orleans Justice Department, but every agency involved in this is probably not looking at any of you too pleasant.
Honestly, the data, like if this man escaped the data, you know how many people look like this man right here? You're just gonna have to blend in, bro. You know how many people actually look like this man? It's you that give yourself away the data when you act more scary and shit like that.
Giving the mocking messages that you left scribbled on the wall. Too easy, LOL. Catch me when you can. You're going to feel the full force of the judicial system at this point. New Orleans has facial recognition cameras, at least in the French Quarter. It could be citywide, could be statewide. You got a nationwide bolo out for you. If this was a video game, you would have 5 stars. Will any of these guys turn themselves in? Why would they, though? At this point, you've come this far. You're so close. Are any of them outside of the city of New Orleans, or even better, the state of Louisiana at this point? They said it was an 8 to 10 hour gap before anybody even knew that they were missing in the first place. That is plenty of time to get up out of the state. And though I imagine most all of these individuals don't have very much of a means to an end, and it would be my bet that most all of them are captured within the state of Louisiana, if not within the city of New Orleans. There's probably 1 or 2 of them who do have somebody and some help from the outside. A girlfriend, a baby mama, a cousin, a brother, a sister, a mother. somebody who's willing to.
That's how cops that think that you see that if you just out there that blatantly just chilling that go about your business that just, you know what I'm saying, meeting new people, just vibing, just going around, just going your own way that you ain't gonna run into nobody. Don't go chilling with people that get your own situation you know what I'm saying. You better go hang with the nearest person who's living in the streets that see how they maintain that and be with them for a little bit.
Risk it all for their baby. And for those folks, I do feel a little bit of mixed feelings for. You're wrapped up in something that you shouldn't have to be. And best believe me, when they catch whoever you're harboring, you're going to go down faster than the Titanic right along with them. So again, this guy says 90% of inmates who escape will be recaptured. But he also goes on to say, and with some of the New Orleans inmates facing long sentences, the national media attention and federal, state, and local authorities all working together, I'd put that figure much closer to 100%. Yeah.
If it was 100%, they'd be in jail right now.
Escapees on the run likely have a network of resources. Exactly how long fugitives can avoid capture depends on how much.
They put it into look it. They read it from a book, like people never escape. People ain't gonna be able to escape, They put it out to the atmosphere, that they gonna get caught, so they can get caught, So that's what they thinking. But you know what I'm saying, if it was 100%, they'll be caught already. So you got a chance, man. The 5 inmates got a chance. Y'all better stay low, and keep it moving.
Planning they put into their escape. Anthony Caglasoni, an adjunct professor at John Jay College of Criminal Justice and a former U.S. Marshal and Secret Service agent, told USA Today they likely have a network of resources that the others didn't have, or those caught were sloppier with their planning. Also, if the fugitives had enough preparation to escape, they are highly motivated not to get caught, especially if they had a significant amount of time to think about this between deciding when they were going to do it, where they were going, and who was going to help them. The last thing on their mind is getting caught. All of that shit sounds good until you put it into motion, right? Because when you show up at somebody's door and you're like, hey, here I am, and they're like, holy shit, you're supposed to be in jail. And you're like, no, you remember I told you I was going to escape. I did it. That's a lot to ask of somebody. I got to imagine that when you escape, most people ain't really going to want to have shit to do with that, right? If they got any kind of common sense at all. But then again, we just heard about a jail maintenance worker, 33 years old, who involved himself.
The world that you live in, you were just going to slam the door in the nigga's face. Doof. Get up out of here. Nah, that's crazy. See, bring them to the border, at least. Bring them to the border.
In this situation, for whatever reason, thinking some kind of a way he wouldn't get implicated. They're never going to know it was me who cut off the water. But there he is, sitting in the same jail that these guys escaped from on a $1.1 million bond, probably on the 7th floor of that building. You don't have much money on you, no real change of clothes, and you have to blend in to stay on the run for a certain amount of time. And you're going to need shelter. You're going to...
Yeah, I'm going to give them that. A lot of them inmates that changed their fucking clothes. A lot of them inmates had clothes to change into whatever the case may be. They should have got up out of there, done. They should have got up out of there.
Need food. I have no doubt some of them are being harbored or assisted by someone they know. Undoubtedly. But also keep in mind that every contact these guys have ever known in their life, ex-girlfriend from middle school, anybody, the authorities are down on these people. So you ain't going to be safe, especially if you're still in the city. You know, I think to myself, these guys, they got to be in the sewer. They got to be in the woods somewhere. Could they survive off the grid? Are they built like that to do so? Because that's...
And they said none of these people was violent. That these people is like they're not really too smart. You know what I'm saying? They saying that these people ain't gonna get away, bro. That's what they trying to say. But let's get acknowledgement on one of the suspects about it. The one that they trying to say that planned the situation. You know what I'm saying?
Dangerous history.
Williams says one of the escapees, Antoine Massey, he threatened to stab him if he didn't help.
Dangerous game of cat and mouse with a man
all too familiar with breaking the rules.
Antoine Massey, he's one of the 5 inmates still on the run after escaping the Orleans Parish Justice Center.
A local provider of electronic monitors says that Massey should never have been placed in the general jail population.
Now, peep game, this the wild ass story of Antoine Massey, a real street phantom, a young intern ghost to the system, been on a run since he can even spell parole. This ain't no fairy tale, this ain't no dramatized movie script. What you about to hear? All facts, gritty, raw, and straight out the real files. Let's rewind the clock.
Shit, he might be the one. He might be the one to stay out the longest then. And this is what he been doing, the data.
Back to December 14, 2007, New Orleans, Louisiana. 15-year-old Antoine Massey, babyface, but already neck deep in the game. Cops got him sitting tight in youth study center. That's the city's main juvenile lockdown. But this ain't no scared straight situation. They ain't holding him on some little playground fight or candy snatching. Nah, Antoine was locked up on armed robbery and aggravated assault. Real charges, grown man time. Now here's where it jump off. Antoine wasn't built to be caged. He was watching peeping game. Him and 5 other young dudes started clocking the building like hawks. And what they see, a weak spot, not in the system, in the damn door.
Oh, he got smarter, the data. He got smarter. Look, he already escaped juvenile, the youth center, the data. So when he escaped that, he escaped with 5 people, the data. He brought 5 more people, the data, to make it even smarter, the GG. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
It busted lock. That ain't no metaphor. We talking straight up faulty lock hardware on the real door in a real jail. They move slick, real slick, find their way into a utility room, and what's sitting in there waiting? A box full of metal shackles. Them shackles wasn't used to restrain nobody that day. Nah, they flipped the script, used them as weapons, started beating the hell out of the windows like they was trying to punch through freedom itself, ass shattering, alarm screaming. But it ain't matter. 6 of them was already gone, out. And it's into the night like ghosts and gym shows. And yo, get this, the same damn window used for another escape just 1 year earlier, September of 2006. That time, 10 kids broke out. Yeah, 10. So now you gotta ask, how the hell y'all let that slide twice? But this time, Antoine wasn't just a name on the sheet. He became the face of that breakout. 15 years old, but already shaking the whole city's legal system. The city started tweaking. Police running like chickens with their heads cut off. News buzzing, streets talking. 2 whole weeks go by, no sign of Antoine. Then out of nowhere, on a chill Saturday, dude popped back up like he just got back from vacation. No PD catch that boy walking on the I-10 service road in the east. Cool as hell, like he forgot he was on a run. No fight, no chase. He just got cuffed. Back in the system like he never left.
Last Friday, just after lunch, 6 inmates escaped from the city's juvenile jail called the Youth Study Center.
Before the Juvenile Justice Intervention Center became what it is today, it was the Youth Study Center. In 2007, Antoine Massey escaped from here. According to our partners at NOLA.com, police found Antoine Massey on the Interstate 10 service road in eastern New Orleans.
But they wasn't just mad, they was embarrassed. Now, December the 20th, a few days before Antoine got recaptured, Judge Mark Doherty started banging that hammer down. Not just on Antoine, not just on the other escapee, Delard Jones, but on 6 grown-ass adults working for the city. Contempt charges start flying at staff, guards, maybe even managers, people who supposed to run the youth study center. Even Mayor Ray Nagin and the youth study boss, Richard Winder, caught strays. Why? Because this wasn't just a kid escaping. This was a whole institutional failure. No training, no leadership, no security, just bad vibes and weak locks. And Chief Judge David Bell, he wasn't sugarcoating nothing. He straight up told the world this escape was the result of poor administration and poor government. Big facts. Even though Nagin later got dropped from the situation, the whole operation got put on blast. And then that ain't where it ended. December the 21st of 2007, one day after the judge snapped, the Juvenile Justice Project of Louisiana dropped a federal lawsuit on the city's head.
My organization is a nonprofit that focuses on reform of the juvenile justice system. We have been working in Louisiana for 14 years to try to improve conditions in juvenile facilities, but also increase alternatives outside of the juvenile justice system.
called the Youth Study Center a straight up hellhole. Talking mold on the walls, cockroaches in the cells, and kids locked down 22 hours a day. That ain't juvie. That's solitary confinement for minors. But back to Antoine. That little taste of freedom, it lit a fire in him. Dude ain't never look at ball the same way again. After that escape, he go quiet for a minute. But the streets don't forget, and neither do the cops. They keep his name in the system. They know Antoine Massey ain't done. Fast forward some years, Antoine growing up, but he ain't growing out the life. He back in the endo. Streets talking, police on edge. Now the 7th District NOPD got tabs on him. That boy hot again. Name showing up in chatter, gunplay, chases, parole skips, and then boom, situation pops off on Haines Boulevard. 12 get a hit on a black SUV, supposedly linked to a shooting. They slide up, see the whip, and who in the driver's seat? That boy Antoine Massey. He see them lights flash, and he don't blink. He hit the gas. He gone. He flying like he got wings, blowing through lights, damn near causing wrecks left and right and shit. That ain't a chase, that's a warpath. Then in the heat of pursuit, he tossed something out the window on Morrison. The cops double back, scoop it up. It's a 40 caliber handgun. Illegal, felony level heat. Finally, his ride gives out. Engine dies on him. He pops open the door and takes off running. But 12 was on that boy back like wolves. They chase him down and tackle him on Bundy. Game over, at least for that day. They slap him with a whole lot of charges. Reckless driving, criminal trespass, evading the law, resisting arrest, selling with a firearm, plus parole violation from his armed robbery case. Dude was out on paper and was still moving like 12 couldn't touch him. But guess what? Even behind bars, Antoine ain't done writing his story. Not even close. Cause what comes next make that first escape look like child's play. So boom, last we left off, Antoine just got scooped up on Bundy after a wild police chase through the east. But let's break this down proper. Antoine wasn't just speeding. He was out there running for his life, running whole 40 out the window, bashing through intersections like 12 ain't applied to him. In the streets, they seen it. Word traveled fast. Antoine back in the cage. They hit him with everything they could find. Yeah, homie was already on paper from a prior armed robbery charge. Now he just stacked more time on top of time. But if you thought that was the end, you ain't been paying attention. For a lot of dudes, them steel balls break their spirit. But for Antoine Massey, prison was just another temporary situation. Fast forward a couple of years. Now it's August 26th, 2019, and Antoine sitting tight in the Morehouse Parish Detention Center, way out in Cullinston, Louisiana. Country town vibes, population barely hitting a few thousand. People thought a jail out there was low risk, like out of sight, out of mind. But Antoine, he ain't forgetting nothing. He watching, plotting, waiting. And that day, it all clicked. Him and another inmate break the hell out that facility like they got the blueprint from the inside. Not no message smash and grab type breakout. We talking strategic, like it was rehearsed. And bruh, it had a getaway called waiting. Little red rental car, engine running, driver in the seat. That's premeditated. Ain't no opportunity escape. That was planned for weeks. Now let's talk about what this move really meant. This ain't no juvenile hall this time. This grown man time. Antoine was in the 15-year-old wild and out. Now he was a full-grown man with a rep, a history, and a damn target on his back. James Martis, the chief criminal deputy for Morehouse Parish, had to step in front of the camera and own it. He tell the media, we had an escape today, and we're doing everything to find them. And that search, immediate nationwide. Cops hit the wire, start pumping out alerts to other states. And guess what? It ain't take long to track the heat. They find Antoine and his co-defendant in Lancaster, Texas, almost 300 miles west of where they broke out. You heard that right? Dude drove state to state like he was taking a damn road trip. And what's even crazier, they caught both of them boys the same day. For 48 hours, no weeks on the run story. They move fast, but the fast move faster. Antoine back in custody, back in chains, but now it's looking very different because by this point, his rap sheet ain't just long, it's violent. Back in Louisiana, while he's sitting in cells, another set of charges start stacking up. It's time from St. Tammany Parish. And these got real weight. We ain't talking about stolen cars or street fights. These charges will have a whole other type man shaking in his boots. Check the list. Second-degree kidnapping, second-degree rape, domestic abuse, battery, strangulation, protective order violation with battery. So this ain't just street beef no more. This penitentiary for life type heat. Now here's where it hit different. Because up to this point, Antoine been known for running, escapes, chases, violations, all that shit. But these charges, they about to inflict trauma. Now you got the court system trying to thread all this together. Every parent want a piece of him. Morehouse, Orleans, St. Tammany, dude named F going across the state like it goes that never stayed put. Reporters try to keep up. Court clerks buried in files. Judges whispering in chambers trying to figure out who even gets him first. But let's not forget, this man escaped 2 separate jails. Let that sink in. That's not just dumb luck. That's systematic failure and repeat. Antoine Massey ain't just a man. He a walking indictment of how broken the system really is. We lock him up, he find the cracks. We chase him down, he vanished. We tried to rehabilitate him, but there was never any rehab in the room. From youth study center to Morehouse detention to wherever the hell he land next. Every step was just a pause, not a prison. But now, with the St. Tammany charter sitting on his back like a boulder, Antoine's future ain't just uncertain, it's down. You can feel the tension in courtrooms. You can hear it in the news broadcast. Everybody asking the same question. Is this the end of the road for Antoine Massey? And honestly, even the streets ain't sure. Because when a man been running this long, sometimes even he don't know how to stop. All right, let's take it back to August 26th of 2019. Escape from Morehouse Parish Detention Center. Because that moment right there, that ain't just another breakout. That's Antoine graduation from one.
Damn, that nigga escaped like 3 times already, This like his fourth. Damn.
To full-blown outlaw. That's the kind of mindset you build when your whole life you've been ducking, dodging, and outthinking the system. But what folks ain't know yet, that escape just opened a whole other bag. After that Texas takedown, Antoine gets shipped back to Louisiana. This time the game done changed. See, St. Tammany Parish wasn't just chilling on the sideline. They had their own storm brewing. Antoine was smack dab in the middle. These new charges, they hit different. But outside those walls, rumors started spreading like wildfire. Stories of violence, stories of escape, stories of a man once slipped through every crack, now trapped by his own demons. The prosecutors pushed hard. They painted Antoine as the danger, not just to the law, but to the people who ever trusted him. And the jury, they listened. The pressure mounted. The walls closed in. Antoine's options slim to none. Even in the darkest hour, he kept one thing locked down tight, that hunger to survive. This part of the story, it's a warning. The life Antoine lived, fast, wild, and reckless, came with a price tag he couldn't die forever. The walls were closing in fast. Antoine Massey has spent his life slipping through the cracks, dodging the system, and outsmarting the law.
Yeah, and he escaped again, They didn't even tell him about this escape. He's out now, right now. He's out. At large, GG. That's just all the previous fucking escapes that dude Antoine Massey did. That's different. Then we got Derrick Grove. Derrick Grove is another one that escaped. We got a little history of Derrick Grove, GG.
I see these guys broke out of jail, and now I think 3 of them got caught. See, don't go running around here thinking y'all dog the bounty hunter, you heard me, and trying to run up on one of them dudes. You understand? Or up your gun on one of them. Lay down, citizen's arrest. And the dude runs straight at your ass with an eye full of kill.
In the making, a man accused of killing 4 people, 2 on Mardi Gras Day back in 2018.
All I could think of is getting her over here in safety. You know, this is ridiculous. People are supposed to have a good time, not going and killing each other.
Derrick Groves is a heinous criminal who ran terror down in the lower Ninth Ward for well over a decade.
What are you thinking of? Do you think about the children and expected mothers with babies that you could have killed? Why are you doing this to these people, to us? We never asked for it. You know, get help, whatever's going on. Handle it a different way. Don't kill each other.
Groves pled guilty to 2 counts of manslaughter and 2 counts of second-degree murder.
So the many bodies of Derek Groves, so he's still out large, Anton is still out large,
I'm back with another video. Welcome to New Orleans, where the brass man hit the streets, but them choppers hit even harder. It's the Big Easy, but ain't nothing easy about surviving in the NO. Under all them Mardi Gras masks and crawfish balls lies a war zone. A city with a heartbeat that skipped one, where every block got a name, every corner got a code, and every youngin' chasing respect or revenge. And in the heart of that was one name that rang out heavy, Derek Groves, aka Woo. He ain't just no hood myth or some name on the news. Nah, Woo was a storm on in them same streets that raised soldiers and took them. He came up round dope boys, stick-up kids, murder charges, and police task forces breathing down his neck. And still he rose, violent, loud, untouchable. Woo was born into the heat, grew up where the only job that paid was hustling, school, and that was just something to walk past on the way to the trap. Woo learned fast, keep your mouth shut, stay 10 toes down, and never let no man disrespect you on these streets. His name started ringing at a young age, first for petty shit, stacking bikes, flipping nicks, pressing other little crews, but it ain't take long for the stakes to rise. By the time he hit 16, they say Woo was already carrying his stick and moving packs like a grown man. He wasn't just in the streets, he was the streets. And the feds, they was watching, cause they knew Woo wasn't no average corner boy. He was organized, dangerous, connected, and worst of all, he ain't feared nothing. 2016, a body drop, then another. People ain't really talk, but the whispers all said the same thing. That was that boy Woo. Detectives started stacking cases. Homicide units looking for links. But in the hood, he ain't need no paperwork. Everybody knew Woo was moving militant. By the time the calendar flipped to 2018, it was already too late. Woo's name was cemented in the streets and his hands was tied to blood, allegedly. Multiple murders, firearms, drug runs, and that Mardi Gras shooting, that one made national headlines.
Hi, I'm Jessica Cartalia. Police in New Orleans are investigating several shootings that happened during the city's Mardi Gras celebrations. The first 2 shootings happened in the afternoon when fights broke out near the traditional parade route. 2 more shootings were reported over the course of the day across the city. 3 people in total were killed, 5 more were injured.
But we gonna get to that, cause see, Woo's story, it ain't just about one shooting. It's about how a kid from the trenches went from pushing grabs to pushing bodies in the dirt, and how the feds finally caught up, but only after the damage was already done. 2017, the feds started moving quiet, but heavy. See, Woo wasn't just on NOPD's radar no more. Nah, now it was the DEA, ATF, and even Homeland Security. Yeah, it was like that, because they knew he wasn't just out here hustling. He was allegedly moving work across lines that ran up and down the Gulf. They got eyes on trap spots, wires on phones. They flipping Woo's little homies one by one, trying to find a crack in the armor. But Woo, he was playing chess, kept his circle tight, spoke in codes, changed phones like outfit. To them alphabet boys, he was a ghost. But ghosts leave trails, and Woo's trail was bodies, burners, and work. 2018, first official Fed hits come down. Federal agents indict Woo on firearm charges. They say he got caught possessing multiple guns while already being a convicted felon, including a 45 with the serial filed off, a Draco pistol, and an extended Glock with a switch. But here's the twist. Them guns, they tied to unsolved murders. So while the charges on paper said firearm possession, behind the scenes, they were stacking the puzzle. The feds ain't moving unless they got motive. And with Woo, every weapon came with whispers, retaliation hits, ambushes, turf walls, all of it allegedly though. But the streets ain't need no indictment to know what time it was. Woo was out here, but not free. Indictments were dropping like mixtapes. Woo just moved slicker. Later that same year, boom, new charges. This time, narcotics trafficking. They say Woo was pushing more than just local weight. We talking multi-state operations heavy on pills, lean, coke, and weed. Federal paperwork called it a coordinated distribution network with ties to violent crews stretching from New Orleans to Atlanta and all the way to Houston. Phones got tapped, trap houses got raided, GPS trackers got slapped on calls. They building a case with layers stacking. every text, every dollar, every burner phone Wu ever touched. Still nothing stuck heavy yet. Wu was moving smart, only dealt direct, never hand to hand, always behind layers of Fall Guys. But Fall Guys talk, and eventually so did the walls around him. Then came the one that made Wu infamous, the 2018 Mardi Gras mass shooting, February the 13th. Streets was packed, floats rolling, brass bands playing, tourists everywhere. Then out of nowhere, gunfire erupt. Multiple shooters, over 20 rounds fired. Chaos, blood on the pavement, right there in the aftermath.
Nearly home. I just need more space. I feel like I'm so.
That's right, at Mardi Gras, Dada. Derrick Rose was.
Last night, a group of people were in a car on Andrew Street in the lower 9th Ward when another group started firing shots. One victim there died on the scene and another died at the hospital. 3 other people from that shooting are recovering in the hospital here this morning. Now, again, 2 of these 3 shootings did take place near the parade route, and those on the parade route, the witnesses say that all of this violence has to stop.
Feds ain't officially confirming at first, but inside them sealed affidavits, they believe Wu orchestrated the whole thing, allegedly over a turf beef behind something personal. Wrong look, wrong time, wrong block. And then when the city flipped, Wu wasn't just a suspect. He became a headline, the face of the city's spiraling violence. The mayor gave statements. NOPD increased patrols. ATF called it a major escalation in organized urban warfare. After Mardi Gras, the gloves came off. They raided everything: stash houses, baby mama cribs, cousins' apartments, scooped up phones, pills, straps, burner accounts, even old Snapchat stories. In late 2018, Wu was officially indicted in federal court. Charges read like a mixtape track list: narcotic trafficking, felon in possession of firearms, and furtherance of drug trafficking, and suspected links to multiple murders. They painted Wu like a criminal CEO, running crews, setting hits, pushing dope, stacking bread, and even inside them courtrooms, Wu ain't flinched. No cooperation, no plea. Just that cold stare, like he already knew the life he had chose. But the feds, they don't stop. And they had time, evidence, witnesses, and they planned to bury Wu under the jail. 2020 hit, and the case against Wu, it came heavy. By now, the feds have been building for over 2 years. Surveillance, wiretaps, informants. They were stacking statements, phone records, jail calls. Every brick in Wu's empire was being documented. And then folks started flipping. People who used to ride with, eat with, call bro, started signing them proffer agreements, testifying in open court, telling stories about drug runs, stash spots, even bodies that never made the news. Witness 4 say Wu gave the order for a hit on a rival crew leader back in 2017. Witness 6 say Wu kept a Draco under his seat every time he rode. Witness 9 claimed Wu bragged about airing out the Mardi Gras shooting like it was Baghdad. Some say they was lying, others say they was scared. But in that courtroom, them stories stuck. The feds ain't just relying on witnesses, though. Nah, they came with the evidence mountain. Phone taps from Wu's Galaxy burner where he had talking in code about zips, sticks, and slides. GPS logs showing him outside the rival's house the night before a retaliation hit. Photos pulled up from deleted Snapchat stories showing stacks, straps, and lean cups in the background. They even had jail calls. Wu talking reckless, using coded language that the feds decoded later. Calls where he mentioned dudes had crossed lines and needed to be put to sleep. Wu's defense tried to play it down, that the feds were fabricating, stretching slang into conspiracy. But in the jury's eyes, that pile of proof was looking way too high to ignore. It all came down to that one day, courtroom packed, media lined up. The jury came back after 3 days of deliberation, and the verdict: guilty on multiple federal firearm charges, guilty on possession with intent to distribute narcotics, guilty on possession of firearms and furtherance of drug trafficking. And the murders are not charged directly. It was considered relevant conduct, meaning they counted when it came to sentencing. Judge ain't hold back, called Wu a danger to the community, said his leadership turned neighborhoods into combat zones, and dropped the hammer. Life in federal prison, no parole, no second chance, just cold steel bars.
In the making, a man accused of killing 4 people, 2 on Mardi Gras Day back in 2018. He was found guilty on several charges, including second-degree murder.
WDSU reporter Ariel Brumfield joins us live from the DA's office with how this verdict is impacting the families involved.
And he's out, Dada. He's still at large, Gigi. he better not still be in that same state. He better not be in that
Ariel?
same state.
Well, you guys, this guy has hurt a lot of people, and it's been several years at this point. Investigators in this case says that Derek Groves, he is going away for a very long time.
FBI Homicide Unit Chief.
A guilty verdict now landed 6 years in the making. Derek Groves, a man accused of killing 2 people Mardi Gras Day in 2018 and injuring several others, pled guilty on Wednesday to several charges.
A jury returned a unanimous and powerful verdict in the case of Derek Groves. Now, Groves was found guilty on all counts, 2 counts of second-degree murder and 2 counts of attempted second-degree murder.
Investigators say Groves opened fire on a house party on St. Claude with AK-47 rifles, killing Jamar Robinson and Byron Jackson. 3 eyewitnesses and cell phone records helped dismantle Groves' alibi. In the trial, District Attorney Jason Williams says was nothing short of complications for the prosecutors and the victims' families.
The weight of their grief has been immense and a constant companion through every hearing daily, every delay, every setback. And while no court decision can bring back their loved ones or fully heal their wounds, this verdict provides a measure of justice.
But we learned Thursday justice is being served once again. 2 other victims Groves is accused of killing, Tyrone Francis and Woodrow Smith.
Derek Groves is a heinous criminal who ran terror down in the lower Ninth Ward for well.
Derek Rose is still out. Derek Rose is still part of. They got bets going on. Gigi, who's going on? Who y'all think is gonna actually last? Last out the longest. Who you think is actually gonna last out? Or can they even make a living out there? You know what I'm saying? With these type of GTA stars on them. They got a lot of stars on them. But they was 5 stars, but they 3 stars now. The more days that they out, the more days it gets lenient. Unless they start causing chaos.
They're on the scene of a homicide in New Orleans East.
So this is
a man was shot to death.
So this is Linton. This is Linton. Did Linton get locked up, or is Linton still out? I don't know if Linton got arrested. He's one of the people who got. He's one of the people who's actually escaped, but I don't know if he's locked up or he's one of the people that's out. But I know the last 2, the Anton Mancy dude and Derek Grove dude, they still are lodged.
But yet I'm not shocked by the fact that guns have become so detrimental to our existence.
NOPD starting off their day with another shooting investigation. This incident taking place at the intersection of Chef Mentor Highway.
There's craziness that's going on in our world. I don't know, Doc. I don't see it getting better. I'm kind of losing the hope, and I'm a pastor.
Spate of violence continued today with a murder in New Orleans East. A man was killed in a shooting that ended near Chef Mentor.
On June 15th, Linton J. Van Buren came into this world in New Orleans, the Wild Wild East to be exact. A section of the city where the rules ain't written down, but everybody still follow them. The code is simple: survive, protect your name, and never fold. From the jump, Linton wasn't looking for a way out. He was getting ready to stake his claim in the dirt. New Orleans East ain't soft, and Linton, he ain't never been soft either. Our other kids were playing ball or dreaming on rap deals. Linton was in the mix early. Ain't no excuses. This ain't no misunderstood you tell. This is the rise of a stone cold menace who ain't back down from nothing and ain't care who got in his way. By the time he was 18, Linton wasn't just floating around. His name was already heating up in the streets and lighting up on police scanners. That ain't no coincidence. That's a result of action, bold, reckless, and loud. Then came July 29th. 2016. That day, Linton didn't just step out his door. He made a statement. Gunshots rang out at the intersection of Roger Drive and Wright Road, just a few miles from his stomping grounds. Word on the block moved fast. Police showed up to an active scene. Shell casings, confusions, and folks scattered like roaches when the lights came on. Nobody died that day, but that ain't mean it wasn't serious. Charges came quick. Aggravated battery by shooting, aggravated assault with a firearm. They had that boy Linton in their sights, and then they wasn't guessing. His rep was already built off fear and chaos. Now the law was building their case off cold evidence. He went ghost for 2 days, but he ain't disappeared. July 31st, 2016, the SWAT team touched down heavy on the 4500 block of Schindler Drive. Cops came with armor and orders, and they ain't show up just to talk. They was looking for Linton, and they found him. Dude was hiding in an attic, upstairs from a baby sleeping in the crib. Whole house was hot, tension thick, but the takedown came clean. No shots, no casualties, just a steel pair of cuffs and sirens louder than a drum line. He ain't go quietly though. That arrest added a whole new stack of charges. 2 counts of aggravated assault with a firearm, 3 counts of false imprisonment, 1 count of illegal discharge of a weapon, 1 count of felon in possession of a firearm, and 1 count of resisting arrest. This wasn't a one-off mistake. This was calculated street-level warfare. Linton didn't just ride with a gun. He used it, brandished it, and trapped folks down in the process. False imprisonment ain't just something they slap on anybody. That means folks was locked inside a situation they couldn't escape from. That ain't sloppy, that's stone cold control. By now, the justice system had him, but he wasn't done yet. Time passed. Linton sat behind bars. Though with charges, played the court game. But on the outside, the name still meant something. His story didn't slow. It just paused. Then came November 29, 2021. Different year, same energy. Linton wasn't laying low. He was still moving, still operating, still bringing that same brand of raw violence to the pavement. At 8:02 a.m., police got a call. Aggravated battery by shooting again. Location, the 9700 block of Sheffield Highway, right there in the east. When they showed up, it wasn't a battery no more. It was a body. The victim had been shot dead, and the scene was locked off. EMS didn't have a chance. He was pronounced dead on site. That's how clean and quick the hit went down.
Well, a man was shot and killed in New Orleans East this morning. New Orleans police say it happened on Sheff Highway near Reed Boulevard. They told us around 8:30 a.m. officers found a man who'd been shot. He died at the scene. No suspects have yet been named.
Hinton, he ain't covered his track well enough this time. NOPD's homicide unit started their dig, and they dug straight back to him. The puzzle pieces fell in place fast. The motive might have been cloudy, but the identity wasn't. Cops got their man, Linton J. Van Buren, positively identified as the trigger man. They pulled a warrant for second-degree murder, no questions asked. But here's the kicker. Linton wasn't on the run this time. They ain't have to knock on doors or chase him through alleyways. See, he was already in custody, locked up again, picked up just a couple of weeks earlier on December the 3rd, 2021 for an armed robbery in the 1200 block of North Claiborne Avenue. Yeah, while still fresh off serious charges from 2016, this man out here robbing folks again, keeping the same heat, bringing the same pressure to the streets. He ain't stopped. He ain't chill. He escalated, went from aggravated assault to armed robbery, then straight to homicide, all before the calendar flipped to 2022. By the time the calendar flipped to December 2021, Linton Van Buren was back in the Orleans Parish Justice Center. The system knew him well by now. He was sitting behind bars on robbery charges, snatched up just 2 weeks after a man got dropped off on Sheffield Highway. But what he didn't know was that the walls were closing in, tighter than ever. December 16th, 2021, that's the date the game shifted. NOPD dropped a fresh case file on Linton's name. The investigation into that November 29 body had wrapped, and they came out with receipts. Full, clear, confirmed. NOPD homicide detectives linked it all back to one man, Linton J. Van Buren. A warrant got written up, signed off, and delivered. Charged, second-degree murder. That was no accident. No beef that spun out of control. Second-degree murder means you meant that. You wanted blood, and you took it. No parole date gonna wipe that clean. That's the kind of move that gets you boxed up for life. And he wasn't walking the streets when they hit him with that murder charge. Like clockwork, he was already locked for that December 3rd armed robbery. Dude couldn't stay out the system long enough to even pretend to move different. 12 didn't have to do a takedown or hunt him through the city this time. They just rebooked him, added a whole new weight to his jacket. Now it wasn't just attempted crimes, it was a confirmed body. Murder on top of robbery, robbery on top of gun charges charges on top of SWAT standoff. That's what you call stacking felonies like poker chips. And that second-degree murder charge, it ain't going nowhere. Prosecutors eat off that. That's the type of case they put in front of the line. Make an example out of you. They had the victim, they had the gunshot wound, they had the time, the place, the body, and now they had the name, Linton Van Buren. It's not sugarcoated. This ain't a man who slipped up. This was a pattern, a steady stream of chaos left in his wake. Shootings, standoffs, lockdowns. He wasn't trying to disappear. He was out here doing what he wanted, how he wanted, and letting the chips fall wherever. That's what makes this story hit different. You don't see no remorse. You don't hear no apologies. You see intent. You see a man who picked the side, the violent side, and rolled with it till it came crashing down. Back on the streets, people was buzzing. When his name hit the murder rap, it wasn't shock. It was confirmation. Folks who knew him ain't blank. Linton had been moving grimy. Now the system just caught up to what the streets already knew. 12 wasn't begging for tips no more. They had what they needed, but they still put out the call, asking for the public to contact Detective Lucretia Gantner at the NOPD Homicide Unit if anybody had more dirt to drop. Some call it standard procedure, but the streets call it snitching. However, the core of the case was already locked in. From that point forward, Linton wasn't just another inmate. He was a name with a body on it. Not a rumor, not a maybe, a documented homicide. His file thick with ink, full of bad choices and worse consequences. And here's the truth. The city didn't breathe easier when he got taken down. It exhaled like a storm finally passed. Streets got a little quieter. One less live wire out there ready to spark off. But it don't mean it's over. This the kind of story that gets buried under newer headlines, fresher violence. Because when you live how you live, there's only two outcomes, the dirt or the cell. That boy Linton caught the cell. Once that second-degree murder charge hit Linton's file, it wasn't a debate no more. His life was no longer just about the streets. It was about the state now. And the state don't play fair, especially not when there's a body involved. He didn't fight the war in silence. Every step he took, every crime he caught, every charge that stacked, it painted a clear picture. This wasn't no misunderstood youth. This was a career criminal in full motion. He didn't dabble. He lived it. The robbery, the weapons, the false imprisonment. That's not the type of stuff you accidentally fall into. That's a man moving with force, moving with full knowledge of what he was bringing. In December 2021, the full weight of Linton's file was laid out. This man had a full criminal timeline stacked with charges like trophies, aggravated battery by shooting, aggravated assault with a firearm, false imprisonment, illegal discharge of a firearm, felon in possession of a firearm, resisting arrest, armed robbery, and now second-degree murder. That ain't a rap sheet. That's a resume of destruction. Ain't no halfway in that lineup. That's deep in criminality. That's law enforcement's nightmare turned real. They ain't need surveillance footage to paint the picture. The case against Linton was built off real-time chaos. Every charge was tied to a moment where somebody's life got upended. Like I said earlier, they found that boy in an attic, getting a baby sleep under his feet while police stormed the crib. That moment alone speaks volume. The way the system moved on Linton, it was methodical. No rush, no mistakes. They watched him spin his whole web and let the walls close.
And Linton bounced on that. And Linton happened to bounce, Gigi. That's a fact, Gigi. So Linton, your boy Derek, and Anton, they outlawed Gigi, but they ain't do that shit alone. You know what I'm saying? They ain't do that shit alone. The 7 people that got locked off. Well, 8 people, but I think 7 workers or 7 people that helped them in some type of way.
Deputies, but we're not gonna tar and feather everybody with the same brush.
Who need to hear this? But them 11 boys that escaped out that prison, they did not go through no toilet. They must really think we dumb, slow, or crazy to believe that they went through that little bit asshole. And they must think we really throwed off, that they really stopped what they was doing before they escaped to, ooh, let's write this, y'all. You think if you about to escape, you about to pause to let me write something? Baby, come on now. It was an inside job, and they trying to cover it up with that. They trying to cover it up. It was an inside job. That's why on the videos you see them opening them doors and going through the back dock. Them boys know somebody in that prison, bitch, a worker. You know, one of them girls that worked there.
all these jailbreak come on.
Yo, this right here ain't no Netflix drama. This ain't Shawshank Redemption. This real life. Orleans Parish Jail, New Orleans, Chopper City. And what went down that night? Yeah, it flipped the whole city upside down. You got inmates who somehow vanished. No alarms, no lockdown, no nothing. Just abracadabra, poof, they gone. But when you start digging into the story, man, that whole escape, it don't add up. Not even close. Let's break this down piece by piece. Now peep this. I'm about to put y'all boys up on game. So here's what they told us. 10 men broke out of jail by going through a hole behind the toilet. Yeah, a hole. Said they took the toilet off the wall, squeezed through some metal balls and dipped. That's the headline they ran with. And if you don't know no better, you might buy it. But we ain't new to this. Let's look at what really went down. First off, how they even take that toilet off the wall. You ever been in the jail cell? That toilet ain't no basic bathroom setup. It's bolted, steel, locked in place like Fort Knox. They talking like these dudes had a full Home Depot kit in there. Nah. Ain't no inmate got access to tools like that, not even a damn screwdriver. So you asking me to believe these dudes locked down somehow get the gear to dismantle prison plumbing? Stop it. That toilet ain't moving unless somebody on the inside help. Somebody who got keys, somebody who got paid to wear a badge, flashlight, and stun gun. Next up, let's talk about them balls. Behind that toilet was a hole, sure, but there were still balls blocking it, and not just any balls, tight balls. Now look at the size of them inmates. They ain't no little dudes. Ain't no way they squeezing through that space. You could maybe fit an arm through, maybe, but a whole body in a full jumpsuit and shoes? Nah. Even if they stripped down to a drawstring boxers and greased up, they still wasn't slipping through that. The hole wasn't made for humans, period. So the question becomes, did they really go through that hole, or is that just a cover story? A clean escape like that should have left behind signs, shredded clothes, cuts, blood, hell, even fingerprints or fabric. But guess what? There were none. You telling me all these grown men crawled through that tight-ass hole behind bars and not one of them left nothing behind? Nah, something smell off, way off. Now here's the wildest part. These dudes was gone for 8 hours before anybody even noticed. Let that sink in.
And still got caught.
Hours in a jail with cameras, guards.
And still got caught. That shit crazy.
Hourly checks, security doors, and ain't nobody know they was gone. What was y'all doing? Catching Z's, watching TikTok videos? That ain't no coincidence. That's negligence, or worse, that's collaboration. And peep this, security footage shows all of them running out at the same time. Now hold up, if they really had to crawl through some tiny hole one by one, it would have took time, like minutes, not seconds. A real escape like that, you ain't all hopping out like it's a parade. It's slow, quiet, and calculated. But on the footage, they bolting out in unison, like they got the green light from somebody on the inside. Let's talk security cams. The ones watching that area, they wasn't even being manned. Nobody was watching. Nobody alert. How convenient is that? Them cameras supposed to be the first line of defense. Instead, it was basically screensavers. If somebody turned a blind eye, they did it right when it counted. So what did Sheriff Susan Huston say? She went on the news and blamed faulty locks, said the doors malfunctioned, and that's how they got out. Faulty locks? Come on now. Locks didn't dismount that toilet. Locks ain't squeeze grown men through metal bars. Locks ain't keep cameras unmanned for 8 straight hours. That's called deflection, and we see straight through it. Then came the heat. WDSU anchor Travis Mackle wasn't falling for the banana in the tailpipe. He aired out the timeline, exposed that Hudson knew way earlier than she claimed.
What does it say? And I mean this respectfully, but you said, and I'm going to quote you here, that you observed those guys running out at 1 o'clock in the morning. What does it say for jailhouse safety and security when you see a jailbreak like that, but you fail to notify anyone, NOPD, the public, anyone?
We didn't say that.
What did you say then?
Yeah. We observed on the video later this morning. We had to pull that video.
He said you observed at 1 a.m.
So let's be clear. I said what we observed on the video through the investigation. So yes, when they looked at the video this morning after the staff realized they were gone, My investigators found that at 1 a.m. that's what happened.
He didn't alert NOPD right away. He didn't tell the public. He tried to run out the clock on the truth like
you just can't brush it off. That's why nowadays, the data.
He was up 10 points in the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl. And Mackle, he pulled her card live, loud, and with receipts. That's when the city started paying attention. People asking questions. Why it takes so long to tell people? Why the lies? This wasn't no small time slip up. This was several inmates vanishing into thin air. If it ain't an inside job, it sure looked like one. Then came the political fallout. State Representative Amy Freeman stood up and said what everybody was thinking. She called for Sheriff Hudson's resignation, said this ain't just about the escape. It's about the whole system being broken.
I think the sheriff has one job.
At Tanger Outlets, find hundreds of...
And that's to cover up all his mistakes.
He's not doing that job very well, and I don't think she should bother the public with inappropriately doing a job, or her malfunction in the position is not acceptable.
A new call for accountability. State Rep Amy Freeman says Sheriff Susan Hudson should resign over the jailbreak. She claims the sheriff failed to fulfill her most fundamental responsibility of keeping inmates in custody. But Attorney General Liz Murrill says that her focus is not on a resignation, rather public safety being addressed.
The investigation is looking what happened before the inmates went over the wall. I don't think it's constructive to address it in that way. I think we need to be focused on what the task is in front of us.
Sheriff Hudson also responded, saying that she is focused on finding the escaped inmates and securing the Orleans Justice Center. She says she has no plans to resign and will rather lead this office through its current crisis.
And she ain't wrong. How many more times this gotta happen before somebody gets held accountable? And if you think this...
But New Orleans, they probably ain't got too much good funding and shit like that. That's why it happened in New Orleans.
Was the first, think again. Back in 2009, the city had another escape. History repeating itself. Same problems, same excuses.
Not the first time the Orleans Parish Jail has been under fire for incidents involving its inmates. Back in 2009, Arthur Johnson escaped from the jail and was on the run for 3 weeks, even recorded a video of himself on Bourbon Street before being captured. Johnson was also involved in an incident in 2013 in which multiple videos of him and other inmates recorded inside the jail were released. The inmates could be seen using illegal drugs, brandishing a loaded gun, and using cell phones. No jail employees were fired or charged in that case.
This ain't no isolated incident. This is a culture.
Niggas got shots in the jail, that shit's different, Shots in the jail, like, that shit's different. So GG's, the daughters, hyenas, scooping out, you learn from Scuba Steve, y'all stay more righteous than elevator, get in the elevator, who's elevated God's elevator on the way to the top. God chose you because he knew could trust you, God's best kept secret. The daughter stay more aware than ever. The daughter you heard, the daughter stay coherent in the shadows, GG.